Hi, everyone. Welcome to another chapter of International Women's Day that I'm turning into International Women's Month by talking to women who inspire me and who I admire. In this particular case, I'm talking to a friend who I love dearly, so this is even more fun. And so I haven't got to talk to her in a while, so you're getting to watch us re-engage after at least a couple years, probably longer at this point. Um, the theme for International Women's Day this year is inspire inclusion. And so I wanted to have inspirational conversations with women who I think are inspirational. So Zabrina, welcome to this chat. Please introduce yourself, and we
Oh,
can talk about
thank
how we
you.
know each
Yes.
other. Yay.
Yes. Oh my goodness, this is so wonderful. Thank you for the invitation. So I'm Zabrina Jenkins. My pronouns are she, her. I am an executive advisor at Starbucks Coffee Company, where I have been with the company for the last almost 19 years. I started as a very junior lawyer, the most junior position in the legal department, and have moved up the ranks, I guess you would say, and sat as the acting general counsel for Starbucks under Howard Schultz's leadership, and have in the last, 8 months transitioned to a role as an executive advisor to our office of the CEO. So that's me.
That's amazing. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Cool. So Sabrina and I know each other. We have a mutual friend who introduced us years ago when I first moved to
Years ago.
Seattle. And along the way, we've been in different settings and different pockets, and we've introduced each other to different friends, and that has just been it was such a blessing to me living in Seattle. And then I'm really excited because Sabrina's coming to
We
London.
miss you.
I know, and you're coming to London, and we get to hang out. So that's the
Yeah.
best part. So super exciting. So I would love if you would just share a little bit about, how did you end up building this particular career? How did you get there? What was your journey?
Yeah. So interesting journey. I started out actually thinking I wanted to be a doctor, but then took a science class and there was blood and realized that was not for me. When I graduated from college, I worked as an admissions counselor and felt like I needed to have a little time between undergrad and graduate school. Back then, there was not such a thing as a gap year. And so um, me taking the time that I knew I needed to take to kind of have a little bit of a break was important. So I worked for a couple of years as a college admissions counselor, and that experience really gave me a lot of opportunity to hone my public speaking skills. I met with high school students across the country and spoke to them about higher education. And so from there, I enrolled in law school. And just a little quick note about my initial start in law school was that I went through the whole first year and thought I was doing well, learned that I was not on the right track, and had an academic dismissal, which I
Hey.
then upgraded. I'm really shorting this story because it was a very long and quite frankly painful
Yeah.
process of self-reflection and self-personal growth. But
Yeah.
went to graduate school and in higher education. And while in graduate school, worked on a number of things with my own personal development. And I got to a place once I graduated from my master's program in higher education that I really wanted to be a lawyer, and decided to go back to law school and start all over again. And it was a very different experience for me the second time. I ended up graduating with honors and just really had a very different experience from the first time. And so I share that as part of my background because a lot of people think that certain paths are very linear, and I've had a number of detours along the way.
It's not all
Uh,
up and to the right all the time.
no, not all. No, but it is all part of the journey, and
Yeah,
so I think it's
totally.
important. I was fortunate when I graduated from law school to receive a job offer in Seattle at a mid-sized law firm. I think going into that role as a more mature uh, employee,
Hmm.
I was looking for a firm that fit with my values, and I learned sort of the importance of balance, and that's kind of what I found in that firm. And it was a firm that early on embraced inclusion and diversity, and so really was grateful for the opportunity. Was at that firm, and I was in my fourth year of practice, and quite honestly, had not really thought about transitioning away from the firm. But one of my mentors called me, told me that Starbucks was having its first junior level litigation position. He thought I would be great here, and I was fortunate to interview and get the job back then. And that was in 2005. Not the Starbucks that it is today. We only had 7,000 stores. But what that opportunity at that time gave me was the opportunity to really work on matters that and sit in rooms that I probably would not have otherwise sat in at such a junior time in my career. And so came in to manage litigation, and through the course of the next 18 years, moved into a number of different roles, from managing our commercial litigation, and took an assignment, moved to Atlanta when we acquired our tea business. I sat as the head of our litigation team, was our chief ethics and compliance officer, and was the general counsel to our COO. And then when there was some transition in our leadership and Howard Schultz came back as interim CEO, he asked me to take on the role as general counsel. And that's what I did up until about May of 2023. And then I started to kind of transition to my current role. So
Yeah.
that's my journey.
Amazing. I love it. I love it. So when you have, I mean, along the way, as we said, it's not all up and to the right. And when you have faced obstacles and because we all do, especially as women, quite frankly, in certain situations, what keeps you motivated? What kind of keeps you pushing forward around the obstacles or through them or over them?
Yeah, well, I will honestly say it is my circle of friends, yourself included. It's, how many times have we kind of needed to rely on our friends to help us see things and to work through issues? Because in the moment, it may be, it's pretty easy, at least for me, to kind of react in the moment and give up. And sometimes you need sort of that board of directors, as I like to call it, those friends, those mentors, those sponsors who can help you navigate through an issue. And sometimes it means also just kind of stepping away from a situation and having a little time to have a little clarity. I will say, just over the course of my journey, there have been a number of times where I've felt deflated, sort of demotivated, and it's been helpful to have others kind of help me navigate those times, and also just kind of taking some time to kind of step back and see the forest and not just the trees.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I mean, obviously, I feel like I moved to Seattle and I met all of the best lawyers in Seattle because they're all connected. I'm like, I know some lawyers, I'll call somebody, right? You know any lawyers in Seattle? Yeah, I know 8, right?
Exactly.
So I'm like, I'm not one, but I know a bunch, right? Um, but yeah, I think, I would love to hear what advice you would give young women or younger women who are seeking to kind of follow the same path that you're on. What do you wish you'd known, I guess?
Yeah. So, one, I think just I learned this early on with the experience that I had in law school, is that you are going to encounter obstacles, and it really is important to really kind of think about the obstacle, and to not have it derail you from your overall goal and what you want to accomplish. And so learning resiliency early on, I think, is something that I wish uh, my younger self, kind of when I went through that experience, really understood the impact of just being able to be resilient in certain situations. I think it's also important to recognize that you don't need to go at things on your own. you really do need to look to others to lift you up and support you and help guide you. And then I think lastly, I would say just the importance of having that mentorship and that sponsorship where there's someone who has gone through a situation that you either going through or want to go through, and to look to them to help guide you along in the process. I've been the beneficiary of many great mentors, and I'm so grateful for the sage advice that they've given me and the support. And I think it is critically important. And I honestly don't know how people can go through certain situations without that support, because it's just, for me, it has just been so critical in my ability to kind of move past certain issues.
Yeah, no, 100%. I 100% agree. Like, I think there are, we tend to sort of value putting on the superhero cape and being like,
Yes,
I can do it, right? I got
yes,
this. But it's like, I'm like, listen, I got a cape, but I'm gonna need you to put yours on because
yes,
I don't even know
exactly,
how to fly, right? Like, I got a
exactly,
cape, but I can't fly,
exactly,
right? And I,
exactly.
I think there's so much pressure in that inability to just say, I need help.
Yep,
Right.
yep,
I mean,
yep.
when I lived in Berlin one day, I sent a text message to our chief people officer when I was working at a company, and all it said was, "Hey, I need help." And he immediately called me and was like, and I was like, "Whoa." And he's like, "What do you need help with? You've never asked." And I'm all, "Okay,
Yes,
that's
that's
a
so.
problem." Right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Why
Well,
have
and
I
I think
never
some of it
asked
is,
this man for help?
yeah, I think some of it, I will say for myself, it's just pride also, just kind of feeling like, gosh, I should know how to do this. I should just, I have, why, of course I know I should know how to do this. So I don't want to ask for help. And then when I realized, and I'll take this back to the experience that I shared when I took that assignment in Atlanta, when I realized, I'm like, I can't possibly do this all on my own. Like I need help, and I'm not the expert of everything. Like, so really, my dad used to have this saying that he shared with my cousins who were budding entrepreneurs, and it was, do what you do best, and look to the professionals to do the rest. And it's like it's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
yes.
exactly. Yeah. Not everything requires us going to YouTube to figure out how we do it ourselves.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
Like, I 100% agree. I'm throwing you a curveball because I didn't prepare you for this question, but is there
Yep.
anything sort of in the world of sort of diversity and women and girls that you're hopeful about, that you see happening, that you're like, ooh, that gives me some hope?
Yeah, I will say I am hopeful despite um, recent case law where where they are attacking inclusion and diversity initiatives,
Yeah,
that companies are standing up and saying, yeah, no,
yeah,
we are marching forward. And that gives me a lot of hope, um, because I think that there the natural inclination is for people to kind of shrink back and retract certain things.
yeah,
And I just spoke actually yesterday morning on a legal conference where they were reporting out on how companies are responding post the Harvard decision,
yeah,
attacking diversity initiatives. And I was so comforted to hear that based on the research that they did, that over 50% of the companies that they had contacted as part of their survey had said, no, oh, no, no, we're doubling down. Like, this is not. So that gives me hope, because
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it as I said, I think when the decision first came out, the natural reaction is, wow, they've been a target. I'm going to pull back so we don't become a target. And I'm very hopeful, because it sounds like people are staying the course and doubling down.
I love that. I love that because I think historically we've sort of villainized corporations and said, "Oh, they'll do the wrong thing," right?
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think there are moments in time where the corporations that have seen what happens when we have diversity, what happens to their products, what happens to their revenue, what happens to their team
Yes.
culture, they go,
Absolutely.
"Ooh, we're not. You can do your thing, but we're not doing that."
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. Just like this
Yeah.
little bit of like, all right, you don't have to be the villains in all cases, right?
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
There's a
Yeah.
place for corporations to do and companies to do the right thing. And I think
Yeah.
that it's amazing that that's happening. So
Yeah.
thanks for
Yeah.
sharing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Awesome. Anything else you want to share for International Women's Day?
Yeah, no, I'm just one, I'm so excited that the day is being celebrated in a way that I don't recall being the case when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And I love just the opportunity to really celebrate all the amazing things that women have done and are doing. And it's been just a tremendous honor just to spend some time with you focused on international. So thank you for shining a light on such an important day that is so impactful for so many of us. So thank you,
Thank
Leah.
you. No, thanks for joining me. For anyone watching, there is a little QR code in the corner where you can donate to the Malala Fund if you are so inclined. And the Malala Fund helps women and girls get education, both in places where they haven't traditionally been able to get education, but also to get STEM education or opportunities for higher education in law or the medical fields. They're really making those opportunities available to women and girls who haven't had it before. So if you'd like to donate, you'll have that opportunity. But Zabrina, thank you so much for joining me and chatting with me today. It was fun to catch up, and can't wait till you come see me. It'll be fun.
Yes, I can't wait either. Thanks, Leah.
No
Appreciate it.
problem. Thanks,
All
everyone.
right.